Executive Vice President of the Owner-Operator Independent Drivers Association, and Todd will be our wrap-up speaker. Thank you.
Folks, appreciate you attending. I especially want to thank our elected officials, Senator Dorgan, Congresswoman Boyd, Chairman Peter DeFazio, for showing leadership on this very, very important issue for Americans and certainly for members of the organization that I represent. OOIDA is the trade association that represents the views and concerns of small business truckers. Trucking in America is an industry of small business, and it is our members, these small business truckers, that will be most likely to be sharing the highways with trucks from south of the border that may be unsafe, that may present security risk. Our folks will be on the front lines. They'll share. They will have this can have a very, very big impact on them. Our organization has always recognized this as a bad idea. We have awareness of how things work south of the border in Mexico. And ironically, the federal agency within DOT that's in charge of enforcing regulations, safety regulations, and improving highway safety in America, some 20 years ago passed the commercial driver license legislation. And what the motto for that at the time was, only the best will drive. Since then, those regulations have changed numerous times, where the information that's required to be provided and checked on American commercial vehicle drivers has become more and more extensive. It's not just about how they drive trucks, it's about how they drive cars. Any kind of activity anywhere in any vehicle. Does a system like that exist south of the border? Hey, that's simply a joke. That's simply a joke. Others have talked about the drug testing regulations, or the drug testing that goes on in Mexico. I know there is drug testing that goes in Mexico because you hear about it frequently. It has to do with the percentage of the percentage of equivalency or dose of methamphetamines and other illicit substances that routinely cross our border. And will this do anything to address that issue? Heck no, it'll make it far more likely to be even more of a problem down the road than it is today. We can do a whole lot better than that, and we should. And for this administration to somehow suggest that things are the same south of the border as they are here in terms of the ability to enforce, check, and verify safety and security, it really, really is laughable. I was looking at, we've looked at this with a certain amount of outrage since this pilot project was first leaked. And I call it a pilot project simply because we don't know exactly what it is. There's all kinds of games that have gone on what this thing is, and it has everything to do with pushing it through with as little scrutiny as possible. But I look at this most recent rulemaking request for comments, and the agency makes some assertions. The FMCSA is training all straight truck inspectors in enforcement of operating authority restrictions. No way. That's never happened. Even in the IG report, they said there is a safety module that has been put together. That has to go to the enforcement community. And I'm not talking about just commercial vehicle enforcement officers, but all of the enforcement agencies that will be overseeing these trucks. If we're going to have any meaningful enforcement whatsoever, none of that stuff has happened. It's in its infancy. The FMCSA training on enforcement of operating authority has been successful. To reach that conclusion, they cite what goes on in the border states. Texas, New Mexico, Arizona, California. Texas DPS has never enforced violations of the commercial zone laws. Never. Same with Arizona and New Mexico. In California, they actually do have a commercial zone law that they make some effort to enforce. We contacted them a couple of months ago to find out how well it's going. The response we heard back was, well, we don't catch every speeder either. Certainly they don't. And they certainly don't catch every truck from Mexico that crosses the border illegally. But there is an impact in safety, and it plays out on our highways. Just a few years ago in California, there was a Mexican national operating just south of LA in Santa Ana, ran into the back to stop traffic. 4 people died. His response, he tried to run. He tried to run. They did apprehend him. I was told later on that they were able to find an insurance company that they may be able to link with this particular accident, so there could be some level of restitution for the families that lost their loved ones. I don't know that that ever happened. I do know